It's no secret that space exploration is becoming an ever-growing part of our modern world and its many technological advances. But with greater development of satellites, spacecraft, and other man-made objects in space comes a great question. What will happen to the debris? As more and more objects are sent outside Earth's atmosphere, the potential for collisions increases exponentially. With millions of orbital junk pieces now floating around our planet, it begs the question: can we keep filling space with new satellites, or do we need to start dealing with these waste products first? How much can the universe take before breaking down under us all? Hello, and welcome to Business Ville. In today's video, we'll talk about this environmental hazard that must be dealt with soon if humanity is to exist indefinitely in outer space. Before starting our video, don't forget to smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell for more amazing content. Now let's get this video started. Since the beginning of the space age in the 1950s, we have launched thousands of rockets and sent even more satellites into orbit. Many are still there, and as we launch more, the chance of them colliding soars. As long as humans have been exploring space, we've also been creating a bit of a mess. There are thousands of dead satellites and bits of space junk from all the rockets we've launched over the years in orbit around our planet. This could lead to a problem someday. So, what is space junk? Space junk, also called space debris, is any piece of equipment or debris left by us in space. It can mean any large object, like a dead satellite, that has failed or been left in orbit after its mission is over. It can also mean smaller things, like bits of debris or paint flecks that have fallen off a rocket. We have also left some human-made trash on the moon too. You might ask, how much space junk is there? There are currently about 4,800 working satellites in orbit around Earth, but there are also more than 3,000 dead ones floating around. Also, there are about 27,000 pieces of space junk that are bigger than 10 centimeters, and millions more that are smaller, but could still cause problems if they hit something else. How does space junk end up in space? All space junk is the result of us launching things from Earth, and it stays in orbit until it falls back to Earth. Some objects in lower orbits of a few hundred kilometers can get back quickly. They usually go back into the atmosphere after a few years and burn up, so they don't reach the ground. But debris or satellites left at higher altitudes of 36,000 kilometers, where communications and weather satellites are often placed in geostationary orbits, can continue to circle the Earth for hundreds or even thousands of years. Some space junk comes from collisions or anti-satellite tests in orbit. When two satellites hit each other, they can break into thousands of new pieces, making a lot of new debris. Rarely some countries, like the USA, China, and India, have used missiles to practice blowing up their own satellites. This makes thousands of new pieces of dangerous trash. What risks does space junk pose to space exploration? Fortunately, at the moment, space junk doesn't pose a huge threat to our exploration efforts. The biggest danger it poses is to other satellites in space. These satellites have to move out of the way of all this space junk, so they don't get hit and possibly damaged or destroyed. Every year, hundreds of collision avoidance maneuvers are done by all satellites, including the International Space Station, ISS, where astronauts live. Luckily, collisions are rare, but in March 2021, a collision broke up a Chinese satellite. Before that, the last satellite to be destroyed by space junk was in 2009. And when it comes to exploring beyond Earth's orbit, none of the limited amount of space junk out there is a problem. Can we do something to clean up space junk? The UN wants all companies to take their satellites out of orbit within 25 years after the end of their mission. This is hard to enforce though, because satellites can and often do break. Several companies around the world have come up with unique solutions to this problem. These include taking dead satellites out of orbit and dragging them back into the atmosphere, where they will burn up. However, these methods only work for big satellites that orbit Earth. There isn't really a way for us to pick up smaller pieces of debris, like bits of paint and metal. We just have to wait for them to naturally re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. Will space junk be a problem in the future? It could very well be. Several companies are planning huge new groups of satellites, called mega constellations, that will beam internet down to Earth. These companies, which include SpaceX and Amazon, plan to launch thousands of satellites to cover the whole world with satellite internet. If it works, there could be an extra 50,000 satellites in orbit. This also means that a lot more maneuvers to avoid crashes will need to be done. By making sure that inactive satellites are taken out of orbit in a reasonable amount of time, we can reduce the amount of space junk in the future. Earth's orbit lets us study our planet, send communications, and do more. It's important that we use it in a way that will allow future generations to enjoy its benefits too. What are your thoughts on the video? Tell us in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your time. We'll see you later.